Welcome back to Views with the User, Jennifer News. This is J.R.R. Hughes, and I got a very special guest with me on this video. Joining me right now is the one and the only Culture Casino. Culture, how you
Hey,
doing?
I'm fantastic, Hughes. It's great, and I'm really excited because we're going to talk about a subject that I love, but I
hmm
really, I really want, I really want to hear what you think of this because this Rings of Power thing has been such a mess.
I actually did a video on this earlier and stuff, and now tonight, doing an update on it of something that something else that the showrunners have said about the certain like this character who we all could trying to figure out was Gandalf and everything. But yeah, my first video was on like the fact that they were lying, the showrunners of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, lying again about staying true to J.R.R. Tolkien's worth and everything. And now we see here that they're speculating on the character itself. So, I did like before we met, I did read this article and I also did some, summary. I summarized the article, made notes on it and everything. So basically, and people, I will have this article linked in the description below in this video. Okay, so basically it's talking about basically what is the identity of the stranger. Okay, because in season one a lot of people of the Rings of Power, they speculated that this is Gandalf or this is their version of telling how Gandalf is. But for those of y'all who don't know, who's not familiar with the whole J.R.R. Tolkien of how the origins of Gandalf, see, Gandalf was in Valinor by the name of Olorin. He's a Maiar, okay? And with the fact with that fact, he was tasked to going to Middle Earth with other, Maiar who then became wizards and stuff. One of them including Radagast, and then another one, Saruman, as y'all know, is the bad guy, a bad guy, and then you also had the two blue wizards too. So the fact of the matter is, they were tasked going over to Middle Earth to go ahead and try to stop Sauron with this mess that he's doing, and not like one-on-one combat and stuff, but using the peoples of Middle Earth, including like the men of Middle Earth as well as dwarves and working with elves too to go ahead and stop Sauron. But I'm going off a tangent. But now we're talking about the stranger as they called it, who's played by David Wayman, who may or may not be Gandalf, right? Now, the showrunners of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, whose names are J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay, they like enjoy what's called the basically the ambiguity of, suggesting he could also be Saruman or another character. Now, there's a key phrase in this article that says, "When in doubt, follow your nose," hints at Gandalf, but is left intentionally open-ended. Okay, so, first and foremost, before we continue, Culture, what are your thoughts about this? Because, like we say here, the showrunners of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power are often, pandering and stuff for audiences and those who, especially those who are Tolkien fans and stuff. But like, what do you think about this whole thing? Do you think that the Tolkien fans will actually warm up to this, or will they continue to call them out on more of the showrunners BS on this whole thing?
Well, as you know, and we've talked about before on shows, the biggest issue here is that the people that call themselves Tolkien fans, like myself, walked away from the show. Of
Mm-hmm.
the total number of viewers that they started this adventure out with, only about 30% watched all of the episodes. They made it all the way to the end of the first season.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to suggest that anybody is going to be terribly excited about this. Not to mention the fact that the show became a little bit predictable based on, some of the tropes and elements that they used. And I think a lot of people are very frustrated with the portrayal of Galadriel and other characters because they seem to be not within their normal characterizations that would be in all of the books by Tolkien.
Yeah.
So, you ask me that impression, I'm just going to say, always follow your nose. And right now, it stinks.
Oh yeah, and I have to agree with you on that one. And it's like they started off and they bragged about the numbers, saying that 25 got 25 million views worldwide and stuff, but only to and I had a suspicion that it was going to decrease throughout the season. And guess what? The total of it actually of people who actually stuck around from beginning to end of the season is like total up to 37% of those who actually of the total audience and stuff. And the fact of the matter is that they've actually planned 5 seasons for this. Okay, so basically, like they've started including the wizards and stuff. Where despite J.R.R. Tolkien's lore and stuff, placing the rival of the wizards in the third age and stuff, show includes that the wizard capture the essence and familiar feelings associated with these characters in the Lord of the Rings. Now, in the season one, this stranger, he was brought there like as if a comet, if you will, a meteor and stuff, like basically the fire landing and stuff. And when they touched him, he was ice cold. But in J.R. Tolkien's writings, even if it was supposed to be Gandalf or any of the wizards like Saruman, they came by ship from Valinor, okay, to Middle Earth. They met Círdan the shipwright, who's also the elf, the only elf with the beard at the time, and crazy. And the fact of the matter is that the fact that they did that, what they didn't show, having this stranger landing meteor in Earth, actually shows they don't have the full rights of it. And Culture, would you agree that if they don't have the full rights to it and they have to do the things that they got to change up the story and the characters, add new characters in, should this show have been made in the first place?
I don't think so. Look, the fact that it was and that the people that were involved in it were basically just crafting their own tale from beginning to end. They didn't have access to the material, as you pointed out. I mean, you're going off of appendices, you're going off of a few letters, you're in some other types of correspondence, and it doesn't really hold water. So I think that may be one of the reasons why they've made a deal with not just Warner Brothers, but with the rights holder currently, Embracer, who actually has some of these rights. So season 2 could contain more information that the audience could be familiar with. I think. I don't expect it. And to me, as you pointed out, because of the descriptions of these characters, I think all anybody's going to assume is that the stranger is Gandalf.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like with the season finale of that season. I didn't watch any of the season, any of the episodes last season. I just saw the different views on it and stuff. But it's like with the moth and all of that. That's like in relation to Gandalf and stuff. So that's where people figure that it's Gandalf and stuff. But they call it the stranger because, and I guarantee this is going to call this guy the stranger and stuff because they're not going to give his actual name and stuff or for Lorien and stuff. But they may or may not go ahead and have him being called Gandalf. But from the article, it also talks about the character journey, where the stranger's journey, who's on season 2, taking him and Nori to Rune, taking them to Rune. You know what Rune is, right? Just to make sure.
Well, I haven't talked about Tolkien in this way for a long time, so you'll have to refresh my memory.
All right, so for those of y'all who don't know, Rune is like, if you remember, think back to the Rings of the Return of the King map and stuff. If you see Mordor further eastward and stuff, you got the land of Rune. In other words, the unexplored land of Mother Earth. Okay. And it's described as basically a blank canvas with like what they call a canvas for potential new story, okay, storytelling. And the showrunners of the Lord of the Rings of Power also emphasize that the character's self-discovery and development, learning about his identity and powers along the way. I'm gonna be honest, when I read this article, I'm like, what? So basically, it's like they're doing the same thing they did season 1. They're not staying true to J.R.R. Tolkien's works and stuff. Instead, they're going ahead and continue to add more of their own stuff in where they say, like, talk about the character development or they say none of his identity and stuff. Because in the first season, they stated that he doesn't have any memories and stuff. He doesn't remember anything of who he was before he got there. He doesn't know who he is. But at the same time, it's like in the books and stuff and the movies, Gandalf already know who he is. Okay, yeah. So what you think about that, Culture?
Well, I think it's odd. What age? I don't recall what age Rings of Power was set in. Do you?
So the Rings of Power.
Was it set in the? Was it set in the third age?
No, I don't think so. It was
before
actually
the third age.
Yeah, before the third age. Well, at the beginning of it's the second age, because I remember in the first season they did introduce the Harfoots, which weren't even in that part of going through Middle Earth like that in the third age. Okay, this is what's been leading to the third age and stuff. Why? Because of the fact that the War of the Last Alliance hadn't happened yet, and they're still in and Valinor is still in existence. Not Valinor, Numenor is still in existence. Okay,
Right.
and the Numenor wasn't destroyed and stuff until like up towards before the start of the third age. Okay,
Right. Yeah.
and
The age
Sauron
of
still had his mortal body and stuff in the second age.
Right. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because the age of Numenor was the second age, and it was 3,400 years long. And what's
Mm-hmm.
interesting is Gandalf is not supposed to have ever visited the planet or how would I put that in the Middle Earth until the Third Age, because
Yeah.
that's when he and the other Istari are sent.
Mm-hmm.
So this if this ends up being Gandalf, they've just destroyed the lore. How could
Which
it
goes back
possibly be Gandalf?
exactly, which goes back to why in the world are they even creating this in the first place? Okay, they don't even have the rights to all of the second age. Why? Because the second age is also consisted in the Silmarillion.
Yep.
Okay, they only have access to the prologue and some appendix of the second age, which is the second age and stuff, not the full second age. Okay, and the fact of the matter is, it's like they're basically showing their hands right now. All right,
Mm-hmm.
they're basically showing their hands right now, where basically it's showing that Jeff Bezos doesn't know a thing about Lord of the Rings or even on the Tolkien writings and stuff. I guarantee he doesn't even know. I guarantee he doesn't even have who his favorite Valar is. Okay, but the fact of the matter is, it's like the different creative decisions and stuff is leading them to contradict themselves as well as works of Tolkien and stuff. And it's also a shame how Christopher Tolkien's son, who's also J.R.R. Tolkien's grandson, actually stated that this is excellent. All of this is excellent. We all know why he was doing that and everything. But the fact of the matter is, with the whole creative decisions, like I said, have them contradict themselves. Where including the wizard, a part of the show, is brought a strategy to try to evoke nostalgia as well as emotions from the fans and stuff for iconic elements of Tolkien's universe. And even if it means getting further away from J.R.R. Tolkien's works, okay, from the strict timeline established in the original text, as we just talked about, like everything that's happening in the second age. The story, as you said, wasn't even in Middle Earth until the third age. Okay, the elves weren't even, travel, but they weren't even known and stuff until the third age. Okay, they weren't even recognized or known about or even heard of in the second age and stuff. So what's the point of having them in there? Why? Because of the fact that they want to show this as Lord of the Rings and stuff. But this is not the Lord of the Rings of the third age. No, this is basically like fan fiction of the Silmarillion, so that trying to pass off as Lord of the Rings. Okay, but like culture. What are your
Mm-hmm.
expectations for this season?
I expect them to break at least 5 or 10 more lore items. I think fully you're going to see more changes to characters. You're going to see the proper origin of Sauron further desecrated because they just don't seem like they're capable of following the actual path that Tolkien laid out for them.
Yeah,
And the introduction of dark elves and all of this other stuff, which is alluded to, is actually being fleshed out in this age. And the issues with Numenor and everything else will be further, exacerbated, for lack of a better way to say it. And maybe we'll break more origins of elements that are basically cast in stone in the original material, like the origin of Mithril, for
yeah.
example, things like that. So I,
God,
I,
don't
I
even
my
remind me of that.
expectation is very low. I also expect the audience to not be there. I think as you probably suggested with your lack of interest in viewing the show personally, because I get that 100% as somebody who watched it. When I look at it, Hughes, I think that they're going to have such low viewership that it will be embarrassing to Bezos, and perhaps maybe JD Payne and the other person that are responsible for this will find their way out the door. What are your expectations? I don't know.
I don't have any expectations, but well, not much of them. The only expectations I have is similar to yours, where like hardly anyone's gonna watch it and stuff because everyone was expecting something like something that's close to, you know, Tol- J.R.R. Tolkien's work and everything. You know, they expected to have. They didn't expect like a wartime Galadriel. They didn't expect Guy Galadriel and everything. They also saw that, you know, how contradictory and stuff, especially when they started talking about how the Mithril was formed and stuff. And that shows that they didn't necessarily have the rights to the even the how the origins of Mithril came about. Okay, but the fact of the matter is, I wish we had more time to talk about this. But this is like basically we just summed up the whole article and everything. So,
Yeah.
like I said, if you're interested in reading this article, which was excellently written by John F. Trim at thatparkplace.com, go ahead and click on the article in the link below and everything. Culture Casino, I'm so glad that you were able to make it. This is your first time on my channel, actually.
I'm glad to be here. I think it's great. I appreciate you inviting me on, and I can't wait to see what next you cover because you've been killing it lately, man.
I'm trying, but hey, like I said, I'm hoping for I'm trying to get my videos out there as much as possible, as far as possible and stuff. But people, if you enjoy what me and the culture discuss in this video, go ahead, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. What are your expectations of this season and stuff? Do you think that this stranger could be Gandalf or Saruman, or at this point, do you even care? You know. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Also, be sure to include any additional details or thoughts you may have on this particular topic. If you enjoyed what we discussed in this video, go ahead, smash like button, share, follow across social media, and also don't forget to go ahead and follow Culture Casino on his channel and stuff, as he also eloquently discussed the different news updates as well as have thought-provoking commentary as well. If you enjoyed what we discussed in the video, like I said, go ahead, smash like button, share, follow across social media. And if you have done so already and you enjoyed the other content that I put out there, go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Click the bell notification so that way we notify the future uploads and updates. Till then, peace.